Okay, this is part 2 of Max Lucado. We have billboards up in Tampa about human trafficking. These Christian leaders that are not leading the charge against human trafficking, just the fact that they're being quiet about it is enough, all right, to kick them out of our churches and give them a job digging a ditch somewhere. But the fact that they not only don't talk about it, but then they go and they talk about white people being evil, and they go and they talk about Donald Trump not being a nice guy. And it's like, what? Dude, man, what is wrong with you? You know, there's something dark. There's something sinister. There's something weird that doesn't, there's just no way, man. There's no way. I mean, Max Lucado, when Trump was nominated, he was activated, man. That's my theory. Somebody activated him. Somebody sent him a little email. Somebody sent him a little this, a little that, that little book business you have going there. You know who's responsible for that, right? We are. Now, this is what we need you to do. You know that little 30,000 member church you got down there? You know who's responsible for that, right? Yeah, that's right. We are. Now, we need you to do something. He was activated. Boom. It doesn't take much. They might have some like little secret spy beeper. No, I'm just kidding. They might, an email, some kind of a cryptic postcard. It doesn't take much, Some type of a symbolic piece of stationery, some cryptic letter that nobody would understand except him. It's not like they had to have a big meeting. So that's why I say Max Lucado is a deep state asset. You think the deep state spending $100 million on Max Lucado is a big deal, the deep state? Like I said, they go to the bathroom and drop $100 million when they go to the bathroom. I'm being facetious, I'm being hyperbolic, but I'm just saying $100 million to people with trillions is not a lot of money. Now, they know that $100 million is a lot to people that are not them. They know that. And they will hold that over your head, and they will theatrically act like $100 million is a lot of money to manipulate and to intimidate, right? And because it's effective, right? I could chase a rabbit here. I really want to. I guess I will. People that have a little bit of money, like a little bit of money, $500,000 or something like that, I've seen it over and over and over again. People that have a little bit of money, somebody comes around and says, hey, could you help me with my rent? Well, how much is your rent? Oh, it's $850. Well, how long do you need help? Like, you looking for like 100, you like short? You need like $200 or something like that? Oh, no. I need like a couple months, 3 months. Like, oh my gosh, that's $3,000. Oh man, it's like, well, you know what? To that person, $3,000, it might as well be $1 million because they don't have it, right? But to you, it's nothing. Now, if you don't want to help them, that's fine. You have no obligation to help them. But see, when I see that, I see somebody for who I know $3,000 is nothing because they just spent $3,000 on a case of wine. They spent $3,000 on some stupid vacation or some stupid. They just spent $3,000 on a golf cart or $3,000 on some dune buggy, and they only used it twice or whatever. They didn't get mad at themselves, right, for flushing or burning $3,000, right? But some poor guy or some poor lady or some poor family or whatever comes and needs $3,000. Oh my gosh, $3,000 is so much money. I can't. It's like, well, it is to them, but it's not to you. So there's a disconnect here. Why are you acting like it's a lot of money? See, that's just manipulation, right? That's manipulation. That's intimidation. That's fake theatrics. That's just, So that's what I mean. $100 million is a lot of money to me. It's a lot of money to everybody that I know. But I'm just saying that, and have ever met and have ever known. It's a lot of money to everybody who's within 3 degrees of separation from me. Okay, I'm not trying to say it's not a lot of money to me. I'm saying to them it's not a lot of money, right? But to a guy like Max Lucado, that's a lot of money, And I just made up that figure, 100 million. I don't know how much. I don't even know if any of this is true. I'm just saying this is my feeling. This is just the way I feel. There was a couple other things about Max Lucado. I can't quite put my finger on. I can't remember what it was. I apologize. I told you this was going to be a mess. And I didn't lie to you about that because it is kind of a mess. But These evangelical leaders that run around talking about God and talking about how much they love Jesus and yada yada, and then on the one hand, you know, they're moving their mouths like their mouths are made out of flowers. Oh, so pretty. Oh, and then every time you see them in a picture, they're like, oh, look at me. Oh, and then they got the prettiest little wife and the nicest little house. Oh, oh. You know, the Bible specifically says Jesus was not a good-looking man. The elite specifically did not like Jesus. I mean, read about Isaiah, read about Jeremiah, read about the apostle. All of them were killed by the elite. The elite didn't like these people, but these evangelical preachers like, oh, we love, oh, look at us, oh, we have degrees and we live in the fancy house. Oh, we never say anything offensive. You're supposed to say offensive things. That's the testimony of everybody in the Bible that amounted to anything. That's your job, right? It's your job to hold yourself up to prosecution of the authorities. That's the testimony of Jesus. That's the testimony of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, Paul, Jeremiah, Isaiah. Isaiah, the king chased him down and cut a tree in half, and he was inside the tree. Isaiah was cut in half. Jeremiah was thrown into a well and then landed in the mud. The well was empty. It didn't have any water in it, but it landed in the mud sunk up to his waist. And then after they got him in the well, or before they got him before they put him in the well, they beat him. And then they put him in prison. Right? Because Jeremiah told the elite, the king, what the king did not want to hear. And all the king's little elite back rub circle people that just spend their days rubbing each other's backs, chanting in each other's ears how wonderful they are, like these evangelical preachers do. Oh, that was so. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was so good. Oh, I saw you. Oh yeah. So your wife is so beautiful. Yeah. Oh yeah. You're doing such a great job. Just whispering it in like little back rubbing circles. That's, you know. So yeah. My theory is that Max Lucado was activated. And these guys, it's just like John F. Kennedy said in his Secret Society speech, that nobody knows about these people's failure. You read that speech, or you can listen to it. Nobody knows about their successes. Nobody knows about their failures. Why? Because they're secret. They're the world below. And yet, at the same time, in the same speech, John F. Kennedy said that they were a vast network of people armed with military, financial, political weapons. Right? Yeah, that's what he said. Look it up for yourself if you don't believe me. But when they fail, nobody... And that's exactly what it is. Max Lucado does his little op-ed thing in the Washington Post, and then it doesn't go so good, or it goes good, or whatever, and then... Oh, well, who cares? I just go back to Texas and I can start talking about how wonderful God is and how wonderful. And it's like, oh, I got my little radio station talks and I make everybody feel so good, right? And nobody knows. Nobody knows. That's the way this stuff works. And that's why it's so weird. Because these guys they're like shapeshifters, right? It's like in the movies. Max Lucado was like a shapeshifter from the movies. His whatever you want to call it, mothership or whatever, sends out a signal, boom, he shape shifts to do a job, and then when the job is over, he shape shifts back. Boom, boom. Quiet, smooth, elegant. If he succeeds, nobody knows. Everybody just assumes that it's just the most natural thing in the world. If he fails, nobody knows. I mean, it's just something. I mean, nobody even knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. All they know is that this guy looks really good. See, if you're the devil, you can't go around smelling bad, looking bad, talking bad, saying evil, nasty, mean things. See, isn't that funny? If you're the devil, you can't really do that. Because then people will start to get the idea that you're the devil, right? And then they'll come after you, and they will take you out, right? So you got to go around smelling pretty, looking good, talk. It's like a guy who robs a bank, and then he goes outside, and as he's walking out the door, he takes off his sunglasses and his wig and his hat and his shirt and throws it in somewhere they can't find it, right? And then he's outside the bank, and he's the most devoted citizen of all the citizens outside the bank, swearing to find the person that perpetrated this crime. See, the bank robber could run, but then he'd be on the run. And while all the people were looking this way, he'd be looking that way. So everybody would have an idea that, okay, he's probably the guy that robbed the bank because he's running away, and we're all standing around here talking to each other. So no, you got to join the group, right? You got to look like everybody else. So this is the other thing I want to say. I think it was Lenin has a famous quote. It says, if you want to defeat your enemy, lead your enemy. So it's a kind of Alinsky type thing. I've broken it down and elaborated upon it into 5 steps, and I hope I can remember those 5 steps. Number 1 is infiltrate. So when you're the devil, or when you're a force of evil or a cause of evil, you want to infiltrate something good. So that's where the churches come in. I don't know how I know this. It's just one of those, since I was 4 or 5 years old. Maybe I overheard my father or my grandfather talking. I don't know. But the Freemasons are all over the church. All up in the church. Like, to me, the picture, the image, if somebody were to ask me the stereotype of what a Freemason is to you, and the Freemasons are Luciferians, they worship the devil at the highest levels, not the low level. The low level is just like the recruiting area. The low level is just where they get people, giant mass of people in, and the leaders just sort of watch, and they find out, okay, who's a candidate to move them up into the organization? Who among this group of 100 people can go to the next level? So they just watch, And those 100 people, they have no idea what the heck is going on. They just think it's like a social club, and they're raising money for the children's hospital. They have no idea that the children's hospital is a hub of human trafficking, and that the hospital rooms and the doctors and the nurses is all, like I said, it's $1 trillion. What did I call it? A $1 billion or $1 trillion adornment over the abyss, right? Because you can't let people know their abyss is there. They'll all run away, right? So they don't know. The 100 people, your brother, your uncle, your this, your that, I don't know it. It's not like you joined the Freemasons. They say, hey, listen, man, I know you think that we're just like, we just support children's causes, and, we do good things for community, but really we worship the devil, and we're committed to doing evil, and all that other stuff is just a front for our operation, our real operation. So anyway, since you just joined today, we just wanted you to know what we're really all about. They don't do that, right? That's crazy, right? No, I don't know at what level they learn the truth, but I'll tell you this: they don't learn the truth until they know they're ready to learn the truth. And by that I mean they don't learn the truth at a time that the leaders think there's a chance that the person will run away upon learning the truth. That's what being ready is. In other words, you learn the truth, but you're still devoted to the cause, right? So I don't know at what level. Maybe it's a different level for everybody. I don't know. But whatever it is what it is. So if you're the devil, you can't. So infiltrate is the first. Okay. Every whatever has an infiltrator. Sometimes corporations have people from other corporations infiltrating their corporation, and their job is to be there and spy. I mean, that does happen, right? So this is not like that weird, right? Second level is to master the master the culture, master the language, master the lexicon. Every institution, even the same institution, just a different location. They have a little bit different way of operating, a little bit different way of speaking. They just do things a little bit differently, right? So master the culture and the language and the lexicon of that particular. So you hear somebody running around quoting Bible verses, Jesus this, Jesus that. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. They might be good, they might be bad. I don't know. I mean, you don't know. You can have your feeling. I grew up in a church down in Delray Beach, and we had 2 known pedophiles in that church. 2. It's a small church. 2 that we knew about. Maybe there was more. But we had 2, okay? And one of the pedophiles had adopted 14 boys. He was like a hero, man. Oh, this man is such a wonderful... No, he's not a wonderful man. He's a pedophile, and he's using those boys for his cabinet company to make money. See what I'm saying? I mean, you can't look at, so you just can't look at the way things appear. Like Max Lucado, he's like this sparkling, perfect Christian man, you know. You can't look at the way things look, right? And you got to remember, the Bible specifically says Jesus was unattractive, right? The elite didn't like Jesus. Jesus didn't walk around in the clothing that the elite wore. You never heard the women where Jesus walked saying, "Oh, he studied under Rabbi such and such and so." Jesus didn't study under any rabbis, right? And studying under a rabbi for Jesus is synonymous with having a college degree in our day, right? "Oh, her son, nephew, grandson, whatever, went to such and such, he has a degree in such and such." It's like, so? What does that mean? What's the significance of that? Who cares, right? So infiltrate, master the culture, okay? Now, next level is where it really starts to get interesting. Lead, right? Lead. You've infiltrated, you've mastered the culture and the lexicon and the ways and the whatever. Now you become a leader, right? And then you brand yourself. If possible, this one's huge. If you can do this, I remember one of the other things about Max Lucado. I'm so glad I remembered this. I'm like, oh my gosh, there has to be something else. Okay. Okay, this is a branding thing. Max Lucado, they tried to brand him. Okay, and they succeeded to a certain degree. What is Max Lucado's tagline? America's pastor. America's pastor! The pastor of the world. Why don't they just call him the pastor of the solar system? The pastor of the solar system. The pastor of the Milky Way. The universe's pastor. I mean, come on. Give me a break, man. There's 300 million people in America, and I don't even know if a majority of them are actually Christians. I mean, how can America... See, this is another weirdness. It's like, Max Lucado is Mr. Apolitical. I don't want to get political. Ooh. You know, and 1 minute, and then the next minute, I'm America's pastor. It's like, dude, you got like a split personality, man. There's something wrong with you, right? You're running around allowing yourself to be called America's pastor, while at the same time you're swearing yourself to never be political. It's like something is wrong. See what I mean? There's something satanic, there's something dark, there's something weird, there's some kind of cognitive dissonancy about this whole thing with Max Lucado. It's like, dude, you are like a seriously like messed up person. You're like mental, right? That's like mental to do those kind of things, right? I mean, America doesn't have a pastor, for crying out loud. You know what? That is the type of megalomania that you get out of the deep state. Because the Bill Gates of the world, the CIAs of the world, the yada yada, whoever these people are, the George Soros, the Obamas, the Bushes, I mean, they all want to rule the world. You know what? And God has called us to rule in grace and kindness and justice and peace our world. Like, take care of your own. You know? Take care of your own people. He's like, I'm going to rule the world. We're going to save the world for Jesus. Like, well, you got some pretty bad issues in your own town. How can anybody have any expectation whatsoever that you can have any impact on the world? And you can't even fix the state of Texas. You can't even fix whatever little podunk town you come from, whether it's Houston or Dallas or whatever. You might not say it's a podunk town, but in the grand scheme of history, it's podunk. You know? Compared to, what was it? The Atlantis, or, you know, some of the ancient cities of, you know, maybe the Aztecs. I mean, you know, who knows? I don't know. Maybe it's not podunk, but I'm kind of thinking, yeah, it's podunk. In 100 years, 1,000 years, when this culture collapses, nobody's going to know anything about Dallas or Houston. I mean, you might be really impressed with it. If I go there, I'm sure I would be really impressed with it. But I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of all things, it's like a grain of sand on the bottom of the hoof of a wildebeest, right? I mean, it's like nothing. Excuse me. I should not have eaten that donut. So that kind of megalomania about calling yourself America's pastor, it's like, that's deep state, man. That's deep state. That's deep state. That's like a sign. That's like a fingerprint. Yeah, that kind of megalomania is not healthy, dude. You're like mental, and you're like sick. There's something wrong with you, right? And you're like shape-shifting. You're a shapeshifter, right? So they tried to brand Max Lucado as the face of Christianity, right? So then when if you can do those four things, infiltrate, master, lead, brand, so that you become the thing, then number 5, what happens on number 5? Number 5 is you drive it all into the ground. That's what Lenin meant. If you want to defeat your enemy, lead your enemy. Infiltrate, master, lead, brand, and then wreck. All right? That is so amazing of a philosophy if you can wrap your head around it. Because if you go in and wreck somebody, if you go in and wreck somebody's organization, if you go in and wreck, especially if they're good, or if they're regarded to be good, then even if you succeed, you still lose, because you're considered to be the aggressor, the offender. You're considered to be evil, right? And nobody will trust you. People will just apply their focus to you rebuilding what you broke, right? But if you can somehow manipulate circumstances and people to cause that other thing that you want to be gone to self-destruct, and then you can go out on TV and to all the newspapers and you can say, oh, it's such a tragedy. I can't believe I never in a million years thought anything like this would happen, and yada, 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 and so forth. When it was you, the whole time, you and working in collaboration with 100 or 1,000 other people, and you're all part of this little secret society. That's why they have these meetings. That's why they have this. That's why it's a society. It's not a devil's club. It's not a club. It's a society, because they need a network of like-minded, a network of synchronized people thinking in a synchronized fashion to a common goal, so that no one person is actually responsible. All right? Dedicated to doing evil, but it's not called evil. It's not considered evil. You leave your fingerprints, you leave your footprints, you leave no sight of yourself anywhere. You just get done what you want done, and nobody knows that you were ever involved. Okay? And that's what I think. I think Max Lucado, in some way, I mean, he wasn't branded well enough to actually drive it into the ground, you know. You know, or maybe that's not what they used the branding for. Maybe they were going to use the branding just to drive the evangelical church in the direction they wanted it to go. Maybe they weren't going to wreck it. Maybe they just wanted to get it out of the way, you know. And, you know, maybe I'm sure they're just highly opportunistic. Whatever, once you're in control, you just become opportunistic. It's like, okay, well, now we're in control. Let's just wait for an opportunity to do something, anything. We don't have a grand plan. Our grand plan is to be in control. And once we're in control, we can just sort of do whatever comes around, you know, and that's it. So, that's the whole ball. That's the whole rubber band ball of my thoughts about Max Lucado, tightly wound, although at the end of 2 30-minute videos, I think the ball, the rubber bands sprung loose and they popped all over the place. But anyway, a couple people asked why I said that about Max Lucado. That's why I said that. And like I said, if he is part of this stuff, he's not the only one, because they're a society, right? They don't have one person in evangelical Christianity that's their man. They have 1,000 people, you know. They have plumbers, they have policemen, they have judges, they have mayors. Well, like I said, they've had presidents, they have lawnmen, I mean, it's a society. right? That's why it's called a society. It's a society within a society. It's like that. That's a principle of the occult. Things within things. And it sounds really mysterious and really impressive, but all it means is that whatever you do, you always do it in a cloaked fashion. So you've got to have an intention within an outer shell of pretension. You've got to wrap your intention inside of pretension. You know, the famous 33rd degree Mason, what's his name? Admiral Byrd. Admiral, I can't remember the guy's name. The guy with the big long wizard beard. He wrote the something on morals and something else. See, that's the thing. They consider themselves to be moral, right? They preach morality. They preach ethics. And to a certain degree, they practice morality and ethics, right? But only when it doesn't interfere with their objectives, right? So, I mean, that's why I say it's weird. It's brilliant, but it's also weird, right? I mean, these you know, God help me. I don't ever want to be involved in any kind of secret anything. God help me, because I believe in that philosophy that secrets make you sick, right? And I believe that people who do good occasionally, but man, I don't know, man. I just see so much more good being done by people being open and transparent, you know. And I just see secrets as being a world of depravity and sickness, and I'm talking about the person who's perpetuating the secrets. I'm not talking about their collateral damage. I'm just talking about themselves. You know, I see that secrets as a source of sickness and suffering. You know, and really, it's like entrapment. You know, because once you agree to keep a secret, it's just a matter of time before you have to keep other secrets to keep that secret, right? And you just become a big fat liar. Your entire life, you're just a liar. And even if nobody knows except you, it doesn't matter. That's a devastating effect on a human soul, on a human psyche, on a human, you know, I don't know. God help me. God help me out. You know, I don't know of any secrets that I'm keeping, but, you know, maybe I am. I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not conscious of them if I am. Yeah, God help me. I don't ever want to be any part of that. And if you know anybody who is, then don't give them a hard time, because that doesn't do any good. Just pray for them, you know? Just pray for them, that's all. That's the only and the greatest thing that we can do, is to pray for people that are suffering, you know, or involved or in things that are going to cause them to suffer soon, you know, or at some point in the future. So, I guess that's all I have to say about Max Lucado. I've wanted to say it for a long time. You know, the whole shape-shifting thing, and then the whole megalomania thing, and then the whole perfect, and then the whole concept of leading your enemy into a ditch by being their leader, becoming their leader. You know, all that together, it just, the more I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, that matches Max Lucado. That matches him perfectly. You could go and talk about Jimmy Swagger. You could talk about these other people, and if they could have been, I mean, they could have been, right? I mean, they certainly drove things into a ditch, didn't they? Yeah. Maybe they decided they had different plans for Max Lucado. I mean, maybe they have to formulate. I'm sure they have to formulate their plans based upon the persona of the person in question that they're dealing with in any given situation. So, and Max Lucado probably doesn't have that kind of personality, you know. So, Billy Graham was purportedly involved in a lot of stuff, but this is about to shut off. So, and his son too, by the way, Franklin Graham. So, anyway, I'll do a video about that one day. God bless you. Thank you for watching these videos. I really appreciate it. I know it's been unbearably long, so thank you very much. Bye.